Hello and welcome to our Global Channel Chief interview series. I'm delighted to be joined by George Hope from Hewlett Packard Enterprise. George is Worldwide Channel Chief for HPE. George, it's great to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you too, Alastair. My pleasure.
So welcome back to our channel forum, George. And of course, it's a year since you took on this role. Can you talk about how you have been thriving? The theme of our event is Thrive. So how are you thriving in your role?
Thank you for my anniversary wish. It actually has been a year, October 1st to October 1st. So the time goes by really fast in this business. But I've enjoyed it a lot. I've got a chance to to meet with a lot of partners, albeit virtually, but and I'm kind of sequestered in my basement and looking forward to getting out. But I think it's been an enjoyable year. It's been a huge learning experience for me, and I'm looking forward to to continued success in the role.
So are you actually traveling now? Are you able to meet partners and customers face to face yet?
Not yet. I've been able to meet with them virtually. I mean, the good news, with the last year in the pandemic, and I can't believe I'm using good news and pandemic in the same sentence, but we have the tools to meet with them more often, but it's not the same as being face to face, right? And after a couple of years of Zoom calls, I think you get the Zoom fatigue and you have the ability to overbook your day. But I'm looking forward to getting back out in front of customers. Looking forward to traveling again, even if I have to wear a mask the whole time in the air, unfortunately. But the good thing the thing I miss about traveling is that you get the isolation in the air for a few hours, take a moment to think, strategize, plan, without the disruption of the 15 meeting day. I'm kind of a travel martyr. I like to complain about it, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I'm so looking forward to getting it back. But the good news is, with you guys having a hybrid meeting, I think it's an awesome opportunity for people to get together. I know Simon Ewington and Sharifa Haiti are coming in from our organization. Unfortunately, or fortunately for us, we have a leadership. Heiko's leadership team is meeting that same week in Croatia, getting together for the first time in a year and a half. So we're certainly looking forward to the interaction with the team.
Yeah, great. And we're looking forward to having the interaction with HPE as well. So over the last year, obviously it's been an incredibly unique year, but what's the biggest surprise been in terms of your role, in terms of the business?
I think there are a few things, right, that have positively surprised me, right, as we look back at our predictions. We predicted strong growth from a GreenLake perspective, but I think we even overachieved on our expectations there. So that was a pleasant surprise. We've always said that 70% of the workloads are still in the data center, and that the cloud is an experience and not a destination. So it's not really about public versus private anymore. A hybrid is kind of the way to go, so you can operate IT and take advantage of all the cloud capabilities, cost, performance, agility, on-prem, in public, private, or even edge locations. It's kind of cloud everywhere. So I think GreenLake has been a huge win for us. I think, secondly, we're reinventing, how storage is consumed with our new, SaaS experience, with our cloud native way to operate our new storage environment. So that gives a great experience, and I'm very happy with the uptake there. And I think it's a huge experience for customers and a big win for partners. And then we've had solid growth, right? It's been a big growth year for us. Q3, we had record orders, strong margins, great free cash flow, even with the global, supply constraints. There's no doubt, demand momentum is picking up, based on our differentiated portfolio. So, it's all aligned to digital transformation, and that's now a strategic imperative. So I think we're locked in.
Very good. I mean, there's a lot to unpack in there. So, and I do want to drill a bit more into GreenLake. But before I do that, you talked about the performance of HPE. How do you see your partners performing? And what do you see as the biggest challenges that they've been facing, and how you're helping them overcome those challenges?
One of the things, and I think I alluded to it a little bit on from a supply chain perspective, that's been a big challenge, not only for us, but for our customers and even our competitors. It's funny, people call it a supply chain problem. I was corrected the other day. They said it's a supply problem. It's not a supply chain problem. Supply chain problem would say that the vendors are having difficulties managing it, but it's a supply issue, and I think it's not even just our industry; it's everywhere.
Yeah,
but I think we've managed to mitigate against it to a certain extent. We've taken proactive inventory measures. We had our CFO gave us a significant amount of money early on to make sure we stocked up on things that we thought we were going to have challenges getting. Working closely with the suppliers, with demand steering, distribution's helping us a ton with stock, right? So, we have a $1 billion and change in inventory on hand for customers. So we've managed to a certain extent to respond to it.
and what about your partners? How are they performing? Are you seeing your partners thrive in 2021?
I think so. I think I think the thing with partners is one of the things that we're pleased with is that there's a whole array of different partners and partner types, and they're all on a digital transformation, and they're all transforming at their pace. So we recognize that not everybody is going to completely transform out of the gate, and some of them are going to just want to continue to sell the legacy technology. So I think we have a home for everyone in the program. I think with the pivot to as a service, we'll take partners at any stage of their journey and support them. And we're looking at an ecosystem of partners that contemplates multiple personas, whether they're your traditional resellers or hybrid service providers or system integrators, even consulting partners that just want to recommend. We're finding that everybody wants to participate, and there's a home for everybody in our program.
Great. Now, you talked about some of the HPE performance highlights, but one of the things that's really stood out has been Intelligent Edge. That's been a big winner. So what would you say the opportunity is for your partners around Intelligent Edge, and where do you think they should focus?
There's a huge opportunity there. That's the biggest greenfield space I think we have. I would recommend the partners focus on verticals and different opportunities where data enables more sales. I think data is king at the edge. Data generated by IoT and mobile devices need to be generated and analyzed at the edge, right, in real time or near real time. And so network requirements for the edge now go beyond current connectivity and access technology. So we think there's a big market shift there, market and technology transition that only comes around every 10 years or so. The last transitions were around mobility and cloud, and now there's a significant shift to the edge. So we see several emerging technologies there around IoT, AI, edge computing, new apps and workloads that are distributed at the edge, right? So you need to be able to harness, and analyze all the data from every connected device in real time or near real time, so we can create new experiences and competitive differentiation for customers, so they can bring new products to market. So you look at retail, as an example, in one of the verticals. Smartphones have a big role there. People walk into stores and shop and can compare things on their phone and then go home and buy it. But so now the retailers are trying to create an experience in-house where they recognize you when you come in the door, they can direct you in the right direction, they understand some of your preferences, so they can create a different experience. It's kind of all about the experience. Even in things like healthcare, right? Healthcare data is now being cranked out at an exponential rate from the bedside to the data center. So it's about creating that experience. Personalized healthcare is now a reality. Wearable devices are creating crazy amounts of data, and they keep getting smaller and more effective and cheaper. So handling the explosion of data is the next thing. And I think when we look at our capability from edge to cloud, you want the same experience at the edge as you do in the cloud. And so we're focused on delivering that regardless of where you're on your workloads.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. And obviously those verticals you talked about have been big drivers. Is HPE recognizing partners vertical expertise in any way through the program, or is that something you're thinking of doing?
That is a thinking of doing. I would put it in that category. It's difficult. We want there are a lot of our technologies that require a specific expertise. Like if you look at Esmeralda, or if you look at even the GreenLake offerings, right? If we're offering, data fabric as a service or ML ops as a service, or different, HPC as a service, the partners need to have some capabilities in those verticals or in those workloads to be able to be successful. So we're starting to try to cut through the noise and identify specific partners that have those capabilities, because we want to be able to we want to be able to take advantage of those capabilities, but we don't want to try to boil the ocean with them and try to get everybody to sell HPC as a service. We want to be more focused and targeted towards the customers that are, the partners that are really capable of taking those to market.
And in terms of, I think the biggest question that a lot of partners and customers face is around the on-premises infrastructure, server, storage, networking. Mm-hmm. And in your last quarter, I think one of the things that came out was that the compute business is seeing limited growth, but very strong improvement in gross margins and profitability. So how should we read this? Are we seeing the refresh of IT on-premise starting, particularly infrastructure? Is this about the shift to cloud, or is it to do with supply constraints? How much are they impacting what you're seeing in the infrastructure space? What are you observing now in customers' IT decisions around their infrastructure?
Well, I think it's all the above. I think the pandemic brought in a new normal for us, right? There are needs for different things like working from home. There are also needs for things like contact tracing, density planning, heat mapping, right? And everything has to be done seamless and securely as people try to keep their employees safe or productive. So all of these new norms and these things that are coming at us, as Antonio even said, that the pandemic has kind of accelerated the need to transform, right? It brought your 3-year plan turned into a 3-month plan, right? So people have had to react quickly to new things coming at them to be more competitive. So that new norm is certainly driving the need for on-prem refresh of whether it's network infrastructure or data center, or even a lot of devices, right? I think that market has gone through the roof. We're seeing growth everywhere, but our Intelligent Edge business was up 23% in Q3. So that's a significant driver that tells us that a lot of people are having to refresh some of their environments to be able to take advantage.
Yeah, and I think we're also seeing that in our data. But as you referred to before, your customer buying decisions are changing, and obviously the as a service shift is one of the biggest trends we see in the market. You talked about strong growth with GreenLake, and you've got a lot of partners that are selling GreenLake cloud services. Mm-hmm. So what do you see as the real opportunity for the channel around GreenLake? How important will the channel be to the success of GreenLake in the longer term? I know that a lot of partners are still kind of playing with the concept, but maybe not doing huge amounts of business yet. They're interested, but they want to know and they want to see the momentum grow. So what's your perspective there? What's the update?
I would say, we've made a ton of traction with partners with GreenLake. If you saw our Q3 numbers, we're up triple digits year over year. GreenLake indirect. So the partners are adopting it, but again, we're never satisfied with the adoption levels from the partner perspective. We continue to want to make it. We need to make it easier for them. We need to make them more successful in selling it. So I guess I was starting to say that we've seen some convergence of partner personas. We're seeing a lot of partners want to lead with services in their own IP. We see a transition to partners providing some type of a managed offering, and then there's that transition to ARR, which is not necessarily super comfortable for everybody because they're giving up today's instant gratification for some revenue down the road. So kind of the North Star from us from a GreenLake perspective is having partners lead with their IP and their services and bring GreenLake through, right? We think it's more important for them to start to think about how to build capabilities around GreenLake, whether it's, assessment services to bring GreenLake in, whether it's, it's migration services or managing the environment or proactive care or things of that nature, customer success that can help them create an offering around GreenLake that has their fingerprints all over it, right? Not just taking a turnkey solution and bringing it to market. So we encourage all of the partners to try to think of a way, think of ways with us to build a business around it and monetize it, because then there are certain applications and workloads that they might have specific capabilities in, as you asked earlier, with like looking for partners that have capabilities. Those are just other things they can add on top of that from an IP perspective and be able to take an HPC as a service offering of ours to market, or the ML ops or data fabric or some of the new ones that just came out. So, there's a ton of opportunity there, and there's a ton of margin to be had by the partners when we continue to kind of to chip at cracking the code on that.
So are you allowing the partners to roll their own IP, their own services applications into GreenLake and offer those on the GreenLake model? Is that something you do today?
Well, yes. We're encouraging them to add services to the GreenLake offerings as we're selling it to them, and then build out more offerings on top of GreenLake. But if you're asking if we're taking theirs and integrating them into GreenLake, not yet. We're giving them a platform that they can build their services and capabilities on top that include GreenLake.
Okay. So it really helps them sort of differentiate and, as you said, create unique value in the offer.
Yeah, we have partners that, we have some partners that have offerings that don't even say GreenLake, right? They're just powered by GreenLake.
Right.
It's their offering, and GreenLake is under the covers. And
okay, that's interesting.
And that's perfect, right? Because they have an offering that's powered by GreenLake, and it's and they're out focused on selling their offering, which is a huge win for us.
And are you seeing new types of partner coming into the HPE ecosystem as a result of the shift to kind of ARR? Are you going out and trying to recruit new types of partners at all?
It's a combination, and what we're seeing is a lot of our reseller partners are getting into the managed services business. They're finding that some of their customers want to buy it, and some of them want to rent it, right? And they're finding ways to be creative. So we've seen a huge emergence of the hybrid partner, so to speak, the ones that have a resale and a managed services business, and they seem to be flocking to GreenLake as an offering, because it's a tremendous offering to get started in the managed services business. Because when you think when I think at least of offering a managed service or a consumption model, right? A lot of companies are, you go and build a hotel and then you rent it out a room at a time, and you're hoping, at some point of capacity, you start to make money, right? But if we're putting a hotel in your data center and we're renting it to you a room at a time, and you're renting it out a room at a time, you have instant profitability, and you're now, we're in this together, right? And you're able to create a business more quickly and take advantage of GreenLake, which we're very happy with. We're seeing different partner types converge from that perspective. So and we're able to offer them, we can do it for them, we can do it with them, we can and we're helping them create recreate that recurring revenue. Even our program, I think, is unique in the sense that it offers from an incentive perspective, it offers the best of both worlds. I think when partners think about transitioning from CapEx to ARR, their concern is giving up the instant gratification for that down the road recurring revenue. And I think the way our program's set up, it gives them the best of both worlds, right? We have a rebate on the front end that's on the total contract value that gives you the instant gratification of a CapEx deal. And then you're still in the ARR stream, right? You're still doing the monthly billing, and you have the opportunity to make money on that as well. So you get it on the front and you get it on the back, and it kind of eases that transition.
One of the things that we were talking about a year ago, partners were talking about, was that the program was pretty complex, and it was quite complex to actually roll out a GreenLake deployment, and sales cycles are lengthy. So how have you addressed that? How are you helping partners speed up that process?
We are all about continuous improvement on that. I think as a market leader leading the charge in that, you're the first one to find out where the speed bumps are in the process. So what we're doing is we're systematically improving all aspects of this. We're looking at every bit of it from the front, from identifying an opportunity to closing it to deploying it, and reducing the times on that. So we've been pretty successful in doing that. And we're consistently trying to do what it takes to win from that perspective. And we're all in as a company. I think you probably saw Antonio's news this past week. We're transforming the way we operate now so we can lead the market to be the edge to cloud company. And Antonio is leading from the front, and he's driving the transformation. Yeah. And I think we just keep getting back to it being about choice, right? We offer a simplified and consistent experience for the customer any way they want to consume it. We give the partner the opportunity to deliver it any way they can. We encourage them and want them to add their own value with services. We have all the incentives in place. We're working on the process and continuing to streamline it. So we continue to try to make things easier for everybody, and we're adding things to the portfolio as well. So we announced the new storage offering. GreenLake is now an umbrella, and the data services compute console is part of it. The Aruba console is part of it. The new compute console we're rolling out is all part of it. So we have consumption and subscription and all the products coming into it, and we're living up to what we said about everything available as a service by March 2022, which is right around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Your challenge as a leader, though, is that now, as some of your competitors start to come out with similar models, how do you maintain your lead and differentiation? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I caution all the competitors. It's hard, right? We have a 2 to 3 year head start on some of this stuff. So through the experience with it, we've managed to continue to iterate it and create a great customer experience, a great sales experience, and a great partner experience. So we're flattered by the fact, I think, that everybody is now talking about it, and everybody refers to their offering as like GreenLake. So I think that's a huge
that is true
for us. We're like Kleenex and tissue Kleenex and Frisbee from that perspective. But we welcome the competition because this is where the industry's going, right? And we still think we're differentiated, and the more people talking about it, the more opportunity we get to tell our story. And we think it's a great story. And
more competition isn't always a bad thing anyway. So George, let me finish with one last question, which is a simple one, probably not an easy one, but a simple one. As we look towards 2022, what one recommendation would you give to your partners in terms of where they should invest?
After the big GreenLake commercial, I would find it hard to not say it's hybrid cloud, right? I think a lot of the partners have a public cloud offering through one of the hyperscalers. I think you need to start to think hybrid, right? We want to create the same experience for customers wherever they run their workloads, and they're running a lot of workloads at the edge, and you have to contemplate the edge. It's public cloud, it's private cloud. We mentioned that after 10 years in the public cloud, only 30% of the workloads at best are in the cloud, right? The rest are still in the data center or at the edge. And it's not for the lack of trying. So we think we give that same experience across the board, and we think everybody should explore having this in their bag, at least to complement, a public offering that they have. If they're hitting the ceiling with a public cloud for obvious reasons, look, you've got to go to hybrid. You want to be able to expand your market and your existing customers. So I think everybody should have one of these arrows in their quiver.
Okay, great, good advice. Thank you, George. Great to talk to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.